Hi, everybody. How are all my trading warrior brothers and sisters? Let's have a great week. We have a ceasefire Monday, at least talks about it. Wouldn't be surprised if one happens. I don't think it'll hold, and I think Putin wants it so he could get his convoy out of the mud and handle some logistical things before he'll break the ceasefire. But all we could deal with is what we have in front of us on our screen. And followers know I was looking for a move above 98 in the Dixie for quite some time. Finally happened. It took a war for it to occur. My number was lower at 98.13 to 50. We actually got over 99 today, but the form is there. Take a look at the RSI reading on the weekly. We're diverging. Short term, we have a pretty classic little 3 drive to a top formation. Count them. Here's 1, 2, 3. And for now, I'm just going to trade it as a correction in an uptrend. So very willing to take profits at 97.5, put some out at 980, already took 20 pips off. And let's get to the real discussion, because this is also a teachable moment for people who are traders. And I want you to take a look at this euro. So I was talking about this trend line for many weeks, waited for it to get there again. We had one tag here, nice rally, another tag here, nice rally. And then on the intensifying of the war in Ukraine and crude going to 124 at one point this morning and closing at 116, what we have here is a slice through the wedge line, which in technical terms is called a throwover. And throwovers, if you're playing this line, make you throw up. But here's how you trade a throwover. I think there's a chance that we might be putting in a low in the euro. In fact, I think this is going to hold, and we're not going to take out the 106 level. It's very deep. It's probably 88.5. But, the markets are extreme everywhere. Why should currencies be an exception? I mean, the runs we've had in metals and energy has been, unprecedented, or I haven't seen it for a long time, and I've been around for a while. So this is how you do it if you want to be conservative and wait for confirmation on a turn in the euro, although the euro pound is finally signaling it after washing out every last bull going back to 2020, taking out the 82.80 level, and we're reversing. This is a weekly. We have a reversal there. So I think this is putting in a low, regardless of if there's another probe down in the euro or not. But I was talking about the euro here. All you have to do is wait for closes back inside the channel. To me, it looks like a falling wedge. Okay, here's your weekly. And I anchored it up here at 122. So you go with the close back inside 110.50. Any closing candle, I'd prefer a daily to signal a reversal, and then this will be a false breakdown. And that's how you trade a throwover in on all wedges. Doesn't matter what the title of the instrument is. You could try and get an edge by looking for short-term divergences. Really, it was one of the weaker currencies. And even on some short-term indicators, although we diverged, it wasn't great divergence. 2 hour, a little better here, but you had a little 3 drive here. I certainly don't want to be selling euros anymore, I think, for a while. And I do believe that we're going to get that throwover to negate itself in the coming days, coming weeks. So I'm more in the mode of accumulating foreign currencies against the dollar. Cable, I've been talking about that I still thought it had unfinished business here under this low, which it has taken care of. As you can see, we're heading down into some major weekly moving averages here, down about 130.5. I'd like to see him take out the big round number, trade down to 129. You really have to respect how well that cable is held up, and that's why Euro Pound was in such a funk for such a long time. But I think that could be shifting. Aussie's an enigma for me, but I think it's really gotten a lot of its relative strength against everything. It's been the strongest thing out there because of the advance in the commodity complex, especially metals, including copper. But I do have something I want to show you. I think copper has also put in some type of inflection point. Look at this daily here. So, this is people thinking that there might be a ceasefire. And I really don't think, I do think there will be one, like I said, because I think Putin needs to reorganize his ground forces, the logistics. I remember everyone was talking about that the Russians were going to roll over Ukraine and have the capital in 48 hours. That's not happening. And I think he will maybe, weaken his demands and have that ceasefire, but I don't expect him to stop. But it will have an impact on the market. I think it's already having an impact, but even if not, these markets were overdone. If you were in our main chat, last night I put out a sell in silver, 2605. Mainly because I was getting this divergence on the 15-minute. I had a little 2 driver here, so I tried it here, took some partials, and you're up about 54 cents. We're lower on the day, so we could be getting a reversal day in silver. Gold's holding up better, and the significance of that is with silver being weak, you have to pay attention to the gold-silver ratio, because I still believe that there's a possibility that there's one more run up in the gold silver ratio, which would normally imply weaker silver prices and stronger gold relative to silver being stronger. So there's still a possibility of a decent break in silver, and if not, new lows in silver to take out the 2140 level. I certainly think a pullback to 24 to 23 and a half is viable after this run. The silver miners didn't have half the performance that the gold miners did. S&Ps were champs. I talked about it all last week. There were a couple scenarios where we either could have flushed one more time for a third drive or hold the pullback after this second drive, which so far has happened. Last night's lows were very close to the 61.8 level, 12 handles away, and now we're back over the 38% level. We'll see. It still looks like a wedge to me. The wedge line comes in still up here at 4,500. I don't know what to make out of this. It's neutral to me. Maybe we could still work lower down into this range, or maybe we're going to be able to rally back to the wedge line first. So this is an I don't know for me, and I'm okay with an I don't know. Same scenario in NASDAQ. We're putting in a higher low. Maybe we get a shot to short NASDAQ again up at 15,000. Oil looks to me like we had the blow off top today. Although the highs are confirmed, it still is the strongest commodity out there, possibly besides wheat. We did get some divergence on the 4-hour. I don't think on the daily. I think we're still confirming, but there were some short-term divergences here in oil. I got run over in oil on this. I thought that we had put in a pretty good top back here, and then I got out on the rally. Fortunately, I didn't sit with it. This could be and end up being a significant top, but it would have to do a lot more distribution. I don't think it's just going to collapse from this. So I can't buy it. I can't sell it. So I leave it alone. So that it really only takes 1 or 2 markets that you have high conviction in to trade, and you don't have to be everywhere. I knew guys that were in the trading pits in Chicago that they knew live cattle like the back of their hand. They really didn't have to go over to the S&P pit to be a successful trader. They knew one market very well. So I still like this dollar. I still think it's in the topping phase. I know there's some people talking 110 or so, but when I look at this dollar, to me, I still can see that as a possible failing rally from the COVID high, and I'm going to be trading the dollar from the short side, hopefully for a while, especially if we can get negate the Throwover and the euro back over 110.50. So looking for a correction in silver, XAU, XAG, potential for a new high for the move up towards 83. Up here, I'll be looking at should the this gold silver ratio achieve new highs. I'll be looking for long silver entries, just working the short side. And I think it's important, you know, a lot of people, what's happening here in copper is, I think is huge. So, you know, people were treating copper like it was a precious metal for a long time. And you have to think, even if crude pulls back, even if there is a ceasefire, these high oil prices and inflation most of the time are leading towards a recession. And that's kind of a, you know, short term, that would be a negative for copper. Copper is an industrial metal, not a precious metal. So if we're going to have a slowdown in economic growth, why can't copper trade $4 again, or even 350? And even if it traded 350, it would just be a correction. Look at this advance. You know, it could be a great buying opportunity at 350, but everyone's bulled up copper. You know, I remember, you know, when copper got to these levels, I guess pennies don't have any in, but people used to melt their pennies and go to construction sites and rip out the copper tubing. I don't know if that's going on, but you know, that's a pretty negative signal for the economy. And then I just want to touch on interest rates because the yen still won't die. You know, looked like it was going to roll over again last week. You know, had a pretty negative day on Friday, no follow through. You know, this is really just a mess. I still have an upward bias. I'm not going to buy it here in case it does fail, but I would be a seller another 200 pips higher. And so with this happening, let's take a quick look at what rates are doing. And the bonds did put in a decent low last week. Very possible with what's going on here now that they might be under a little pressure. So here's your 10-year, up about 3. And we're only, what, a week away from the Fed. Still looks like a rounding top, and that the top is in. And I think I'd be selling rallies or buying dips in the note market. I'd be buying dips in the bond market, especially if we're going to have more of a respite of the parabolic move in commodities. And if we get that one more sell-off in the S&Ps to fill out the wedge, which is possible. There's the wedge again. Down here, take out the 4,100 low and head towards 4,000. I know a lot of people have 3,800 targets, but these are the two areas. So the bonds started to rally last week when the market was coming down, didn't come down much. But if we had one more washout here in the market, I think you'd see rates come in even more. So I invite everyone to come and join us here on TradeGATEHub. It's a great place to learn. It's a place to grow. Have you ever heard the expression that iron sharpens iron? So come on in here and chart your, show us your charts and what you're thinking in the market, collaborate. This is free. We're not upselling a subscription to you. We just want to give you a place to come and grow. The idea was giving back to the trading community by the owners, and this is what we're doing. So brought in some, Mike is a great stock trader. He has a great feel for all the action, has a great curated Twitter list of the best of the best. And I do my best to kind of show some inflection points for you. All I could say is never take anyone's trades blindly, including mine. It has to agree with your work. Don't trade with anything but risk capital. And in this environment, it's wise to reduce leverage a bit. So that's it for today. Remember, everyone, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Mike will be with you in an hour and 13 minutes for his rundown. I know he's constructed some things. He said Friday he was starting to like the setup, so I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say. So good hunting. I want to congratulate you for having the courage to take on an endeavor like trading, which is not an easy thing to do. You're going to have to be committed. You're going to have to work hard, spend a lot of time, and that's screen time. You're going to have to learn to live through adversity, and you're going to have to be not only patient with the market, but patient with yourself as you go through the process of being an apprentice and a journeyman to eventually becoming a master. So that's a wrap, everyone. Good hunting. Pray for peace. Adios.